A problem comes up when we ask students to draft a reflection. Many write 3 sentences and turn it in. You're probably very familiar with that scenario. But what does having our students reflect on work that they've done achieve beyond the typical summary that so many of them crank out, without much thought, if we're honest? The good news is that reflection, when grounded in what we know about learning science, does more than we give it credit for. Today, we'll look at the foundation of reflective practice, why it works, what it does for student memory and thinking, and what that means for how we design it. To begin with, reflection activates metacognition, which everything else is built on. Metacognition just means thinking about one's own thinking. When students reflect on what they've learned and how they've learned it, they observe their own cognitive process from the outside. John Flavell's foundational research showed that learners with strong metacognitive awareness monitor their own understanding, become more aware of where they're confused, and adjust their approach. Regardless of course topic, reflection is how we build that capacity into our students. Reflection also strengthens memory consolidation. New learning begins in working memory, which we know is limited and fleeting. For it to stick, the information has to move into long-term memory. Henry Roediger and Jeffrey Karpicki's research on research practice showed that actively pulling information back out of memory, what reflection asks students to do, improves retention far more than passive review. Assigning a reflection to our students then asks them to do real cognitive work. Now, while reflection builds transferable thinking, there's another problem to consider. We know that students can parrot back new information completely, yet often they're unable to use it anywhere else. We see that all the time. They might ace a quiz or exam, but not be able to apply that information to anything beyond the context of our course. There's actually a name for this in cognitive science: inert knowledge, and it's more common than we'd like to think. So the question is, how do we enable students to use and apply that knowledge? Have them apply their learning to new contexts. That's the transformative leap. David Perkins and Gavriel Solomon's research distinguishes low-road transfer, which more or less happens automatically, from high-road transfer, which requires a learner to consciously extract generalizable principles from a particular experience and apply those to something else. Reflection provides the opportunity for that extraction, but the prompt has to ask for it. The simple question, "What did you learn?" invites the dreaded summary from too many students. On the other hand, prompting them with the more complex, "What does this tell you about how you approach problems, and where else might that apply?" invites transfer. Same assignment, but completely different cognitive demand. That's the design move that makes reflection do what we want it to do. To recap then, reflection builds metacognition, the self-awareness that our students need to regulate their own learning. It deepens memory consolidation through active retrieval. And when prompts are designed for it, reflection drives information transfer and helps our students extend their thinking skills beyond the original context of a particular lesson or our course. When we present reflection like this, it becomes a real learning tool instead of just busy work or a box to check off. Students who learn to reflect well become more self-directed. They hold on to what they learn and begin making connections, not only in our own course, but beyond it. And that's what we're after. Try this. Take one reflection prompt that you're already using and revise it to ask for abstraction rather than just summary. Prompt your students with something along these lines. What does this experience reveal about how you think through problems, and where else might that apply? Try that and see what you get back. Next time, we'll look at a few more low-stakes, entry-level reflective activities. See you then.